Hello everybody, I want to take the opportunity to present you the sculpture that I've created specifically for the Pantheon in Rome. It's the first sculpture that has been done with a symmetry concept on its surface, which is therefore two-dimensional, and at the same time there are rules respected that make symmetry even work through the center of the sphere, so that there is even a three-dimensional aspect in that. I explain what the logic is. Apart from that, there is a symbolism in the sphere that is a contemporary interpretation of the new world consciousness that is actually demanded for mankind to survive. I explain in detail. You have on the surface of the sphere different stars that are six-pointed. They are all different, none repeat. And these three stars in a group always are set in the way that there's the three colors, a rotation symmetry that apply. So if you look for one of these three as an example, you can focus on the losanges that are black and see that if you turn all those six losanges a little to the left and 120 degrees instead to the right, these are the other two colors. So there is a rule of rotation symmetry applied in these triples of stars, which means that individuals need to communicate and cooperate with neighbors in a certain way, in a choreographed way, to make things work. Now, the next one is that the points that touch from these stars to the next always are of different colors. That means that there is an exchange by communication with a neighbor, what the neighbor does not have at his place. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3 is that all these 60 stars are indeed different. If you take three colors and you use them not in pairs, so that one color is presented only 3 times, the next 2 times, and the third one only once, so that you have always, for a six-pointed star, 3 different colors. They can be arranged in 60 different ways, and these 60 different are all found on the sphere once. So there's not one missing, and there's not one which has been used twice. The last rule is a reciprocity through the center. All the black tiles, the black losanges on the opposite side, are black as well, and those that are silver gray and those that are dark gray exchange, so there's a reciprocity, which means in a philosophical sense that every individual needs to know what happens on the opposite side and its correspondence with these. That is, in synthesis, the allegoric meaning. So you have a globe, you have all individuals included. All these individuals communicate with their neighbors, have an equal position, all have 5 points that touch a neighbor and one which is free. And there is organization with the neighbors in the rotation symmetry system, and there is a consciousness about what happens on the opposite side by the rule of reciprocity. In total, there are 10 to the power of 126 possibilities to put these 60 stars on the surface of the sphere, which is absolutely more than astronomical. Physicists argue that there are, roughly speaking, 10 to the power of 82 atoms in the universe, maybe 1 0 more or less, but still it's much less than 126. And if you apply these few rules of symmetry that I explained before, there is this estimate which is quite well reasonable, that there are only a few thousand solutions remaining. So in a philosophical sense means that you have loads of possibilities to get these stars on the surface of the sphere, but to find a solution which fits is extremely, extremely unlikely. So in a certain sense, that life is on a planet that requires that all things work well together is extremely unlikely. So that is, well, a philosophical meaning that is quite interesting to see, that is included in this sphere as a matter of fact. Now there's another story which is quite cute, that is why this sphere is exactly at this position in a symmetric palace like the Pantheon. It should be actually in the center. Now there is an axis that would cross the center, that is the axis from the entrance to the altar, and this is something which is not permitted. The next is that there is an axis from one tomb of the last king of Italy to is farther on the outer side, which again is not that there should be instead something. And the third axis is the vertical axis, because the dome is open. At that place, it would be that rain would actually on the surface of the sphere, which is not exactly what it should be, but which is even more important, that if on the center the evacuations for the water, the drainage system would be blocked, this is once again not a good idea. So at the end it has been decided to make use of a position which we have chosen here, which is in this sense still symmetric, but in a more philosophical way. On the opposite side, on the axis, there is the tomb of Raphael. And in the Renaissance, he being the master of art was indeed the link in between the king and the royalty, and on the other side the church. So having the opposite side of the Pantheon available, this sphere now is the contemporary answer in contemporary art, still for the same argument as the placement that had been chosen for Raphael at the time.